So here is the tea for my next tea tasting. This is actually the first official tea for our new tea club. Look at that date, 1992. This tea is 29 years old. I mean, my third son was born in 1992. I gave birth in 1992, and my youngest son is 29 years old. Same age as this tea. That just kind of blows me away. But you see, it says a Liu Bao, and I actually got that name right. I went and listened, and it's a Chinese dark tea. So I've had my sniff, first sniff, and now my first peek at what it looks like. There's what it looks like, guys. Now, if leaves fell from a tree into a forest, they would start decomposing right away. But this is what careful, special care to 29-year-old leaves off a tea bush looks like. I have to laugh. Let me poke around with my fingers. So it's very rich, dark color. There's a couple of different colors in there. You see a different color there. But for the most part, it looks very rich and deep. Not huge leaves, but nice full leaves. I think they're going to unfurl to full leaves. Doesn't it look beautiful? Okay, first steep, here's the color for you. Beautiful color. You see it here. The aroma, very interesting. Here are your wet leaves. So it's really interesting doing a tea tasting of a shoe with a wooded profile, taste profile, while your husband's sanding wood. Go figure that. So here are my tasting notes for this 1992 Liu Bao, and I hear it pronounced as Liu, but the E is very short, kind of like Liu. And in fact, some of them, not like Liu, like I overpronounced the U, but kind of just Liu. And I've also heard it kind of pronounced just Lou, as in the Lou, as in St. Louis. That's what Missourians often call St. Louis. They call it the Lou. And the BAU is pronounced bow, like take a bow. So if I just say Lou Bao, I think I can get this one. But the 1992 is vintage. I love the word vintage. So this is from the Babel Carp. And we have Lou, I'm just going to say Lou Bao because that's the easiest for me to remember. Is short for either Lu Bao Cha, which cha means tea, or Lu Bao Zen. Um, and I looked up then Lu Bao Cha, which is highly oxidized and often aged basket compressed haicha. So we will learn more about that. But I then looked up this other word up here, the Lu Bao Jian, to see what it would do. And it told me it was a town in Kanggu County, which is renowned for this Lu Bao cha. Kind of cool how they kind of all work together. So it's kind of the name is kind of based off of the location, but has become to be known as this kind of hey cha. It's also known because the Qing dynasty had divided up this area into different forts, and the word Bao means forts, and this tea was made in the area of fort number 6. So the name Liu Bao, the number 6 for fort. I don't know which one is 6 and which one is fort. It's funny because then I looked up just Lou and it told me it didn't know what it was, and I looked up Bao and it told me it didn't know what it was. I was hoping to figure out which one meant 6 and which one meant. Anyway, I try. From the Pathacha website, it says Liu Bao literally translates into 6 castles, which refers to the forts that existed as a part of the Gangji, I think, long ago. The reason the tea took on this name is that it was first produced in the Liu Bao village of the Gangxi province. I'm going to guess that it is that. So I've shared about this new tea club that I'm in, so that's where I got this tea. You can go back or ask me in the comments about it. This tea club, you can go back and watch the other video because I'm not going to explain more about it. But Roy, who is running the club for us, he said he purchased this tea from David Lee Hoffman. So I had to look up David Lee Hoffman. On Wikipedia, we'll look at that in a second, and All in the Tea. So David is the subject of the filmmaker, a 2007 documentary called All in This Tea. So it also says that David sold his Silk Road Tea Company, which I know is still in existence. I've heard of it today. So he started that tea company first and he sold it in 2004, and now he runs what's called the Phoenix Collection, which I like because that's kind of like sophisticated sounding, but not after Phoenix, Arizona, after the Phoenix Mountains over there in China that we all have learned about. I'm assuming anyway. So he's developed his interest in teas during his extensive world travels to over 100 countries. So this tea came from this man who really knows a lot about teas, which is super cool. And it's really old, 1992. So this is from the website. We're going to go look at it in a minute. I'm assuming that's him, but if it's him, it's very young. It says that you can get tea from him, but you got to order by phone, fax, or email. So you can't just go and click and order on his website without contacting him. And this is the picture of him from Wikipedia. So you see, if that's the same man, he's much older now. And this is also from Wikipedia, The Last Resort. So this is him as well. And wow, this is some place that he has created. And what a lawsuit that has been long going on with the city regarding not getting permits to build before building, and all the fines that have accumulated thereafter. I'm thinking it was $100,000. I read this a week ago. $100,000. Something crazy like that is what the fines are. I don't know how in the world he'll ever pay for that. And they're threatening to destroy his place that he's built. And I really encourage you to go look at this website because it's kind of fascinating. He also look at the composting toilet system that he bought. Let me go show this to you. So here's he's actually on Wikipedia, and that's where I grabbed that picture. And this is where I got the information about the Silk Road Tea Company, and now the Phoenix Collection, and the information on the Last Resort. So here is the documentary that he was in. Apparently you can still purchase it, but if you click here, you can watch a trailer there. And this is the Phoenix Collection website. So this is, you can get on a mailing list and you can contact him. And you can see here it also refers to the Last Resort. And here's the tea list. Wow, you should click and read his tea list. It's just, yeah, like super long and detailed, and I feel like if I just looked up each one of these, I could learn about them. And some of them are not so expensive, and some of them are quite expensive. But then go over here to this website. I really enjoyed learning about this guy. So look at his place. And he built this himself with his own hands. It is amazing. And so if you go to photos, you can read about his legal situation and the media coverage on it to learn more about his. This it really doesn't tell much, but the media coverage does. But we actually went in here and looked at a lot of these photos of his place that he built with his own hand. I mean, it's just uh, incredible. I mean, look at those pillars, how they slant. Uh, so come in here. I'm not going to do it on the video. And then be sure to click on video, because this is the best place to go, because he has videos that show his place and give more details. And it also shows about, one of these shows very much about his composting system in detail. But I did actually watch most of these. So anyway, that's where this tea comes from. Oh, April 2nd is when I did my first tasting. 1992. This tea is 29 years old now. Like, how crazy is that? And then look at what these leaves look like. How that just tells you how much special care for these leaves to have lasted 29 years old. And let me tell you, I gave birth in 1992. Oh my gosh, my youngest son was born in 1992. Now, this Liu Bao generally is said not to be ready, quote unquote, to drink for a minimum of 20 years. I can't wait that long, so I'll just let somebody else do the special caring for it, and then I'll get it like I did this and drink it. Yeah. Thank you, people who took care of this tea for me so that I could enjoy it. The type of tea, I put pu'er, although, okay, here comes some more discussions. This is a reminder, I often copy this in so that others can see. These are my notes. Sheng pu'ers are raw pu'ers, and they are naturally fermented over a long period of time. Now, the shu pu'ers, they are a sped up process by modern day technology. They're also known as cooked. They're also known as ripe. So you have two different kinds of pu'er, but this is not necessarily a pu'er. Let me go on to explain. So I've heard people say, this is so darn confusing. I'm going to come back to these notes and may revise them when I find that they're wrong. I've heard people say there is a difference between pu'er and quote unquote dark tea. And then they just shrug and never explain. That's because it's very complicated to explain, very hard to explain. Let me see if me putting it in writing might help you a little bit. So then there's this word heicha. So this Liu Bao is a heicha, and hey it is like a hey, how are you today? Or, you know, there's some hay in the barn for the horses. Hey, hey cha, and of course cha means tea, literally means black tea. But that's different from the black tea we know in America, which they call the West. I love that we're the West. Because formerly, before I got to tea, the West was California because the gold rush. But now all of America is the West to people in China. So that was a tangent. So, Haicha translates to black tea, but it's not the same black tea that we think of in America. So the tea we call black in America is called Hongcha in China. But that literally translates into a red tea. So there's this mistranslation that now Heicha means dark tea or post-fermented tea. So it literally means black tea, but because there's been all this mistranslation between Heicha and Hongcha and black and red between uh, the eastern hemisphere of the world and the western hemisphere of the world, they've just kind of simplified it. And so heicha just means dark tea or any tea that is post-fermented. Okay, it must be fermented in order to call it heicha. So, as you see, pu'er and heicha, or dark tea, are two different things. The most popular heicha is this one, the Liu Bao. And I read that this is where it gets even more confusing. It's made with the shu, pu'er, or ripe. So you got shu pu'er, and it's made with that. But yet, it's not a pu'er tea. Anyway, from what I'm understanding, pu'er is a type of heicha, but it's only a heicha after it's fermented. So the Shang pu'ers, if you go back up to my cheat sheets, the Shang ones are the raw ones that naturally ferment for a long period of time. They are not heichas until they are fully fermented. So like, let's say after 15 years, this pu'er is finally fermented, fully fermented, because you can drink a Shang pu'er right away, but it's not a heicha. But if you wait till it's fully naturally fermented, it is a heicha. And now Liu Bao is a heicha, but Liu Bao is not a type of pu'er, if I understand that correctly. I read a lot online, so this is confusing, I know, and but a pu'er is a subcategory of a heicha. So anyway, just know that heicha is dark, pu'er is a heicha, but not all heichas are pu'er. There you go. Sounds good to me. I watched a video trying to learn about this, and they also called Liu Bao border style tea because its trade is mostly on the western side of China in the border territories. I'm not sure what a border territory is. So this tea, Liu Bao, originated in Kangwu County of the Gongji Province. Province is Wushu. I don't know. I'm butchering these pronunciations. City area of China. I found this map and I forgot to document where I got it, and I really liked it because these are types of dark tea. And this is really small, you can't really see it, but this says Hunan, which I'm not sure where that is on the map. I didn't look it up, but it's one of these places on the map. And then each one of these is a different province in China. And so you see here this Liu Bao Haicha is in the Gangsha County, which is right here, Gangsha. Not a gang. Gongshi, I think is what I'm laughing at myself. It's right down here in this lovely color, if you can see down at the bottom. And next week we're tasting the Luan, so Liu Bao and Luan. And the Luan is in the Anji County, which is right here. So the dark teas are just like all teas. That are made, they're different. They're known by where they are made. Teas are known where, so a tea from Nepal is very different from a tea from Sri Lanka, as one from Japan. So this goes, dark teas though go even deeper by location in China only. Does that make sense? Although there's probably some HI teas from other countries. I don't know. So the processing, my video is getting long. I don't want to go too much into it, but this tea undergoes a fermentation process. You can pause this and read if you want my notes. It's a process called Wu Du, and so it's a process of adding moisture, but this tea is also steamed and it's also aged. So this tea is a very complicated tea, but what is iconic or stands out about this is that it uses large bamboo baskets. That is iconic and classic for the Liu Bao. That's kind of one thing to remember. And then, of course, what is also confusing is that it starts out as a shu, which is a accelerated fermentation process, and then it is aged. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of a combination of both accelerated fermentation and natural aging, natural fermentation like a sheng. So that's why this is like a sheng that does natural fermentation. This one's from 1992. Ah, but Liu Bao used to be only sold in baskets. And this one, they said during the chat, was roasted with pine wood. So from Roy on the website, he tells it comes from the Phoenix collection. And where it's harvested, all this stuff that I've already covered above. I did read this more online. In earlier days, it was tri-steamed, or they said triple steaming process. And he's going to do a PowerPoint for us for after we get through the whole month of March's teas. And how they make it now is a little different than how they made it before with this Wow, I don't know. I don't speak Chinese. Very similar to how shu pu'er is made. What I'm getting is, and I meant to come back and type this up here. Pu'er is from Yunnan. So that is also a difference. Yunnan is down here. Back down here to my tasting notes, probably what you really wanted to learn. I put it under the mahogany color on my color spectrum that I created, and I'm so glad I created that because I needed some basis for my colors and color names to compare them, and because color names are all over the place. And my photo does not quite look the same. It looks more like in the brown category, and when I stuck my photo up here and then I was looking with my eye, the camera did not process the color correctly from what I was seeing with my eye. That hasn't happened too often, but it was more mahogany. The aroma Out in the bag, it was dry, very faint aroma, and my thoughts said, walking through a forest without a breeze. Without a breeze. So that's, if you don't have a breeze, your smell's going to be faint. The wet smell changes a bit, and it smells more like the wooded shoe aroma that I'm familiar with. And so the body I put was delicate. This category of delicate I translate to water-like. It was water-like on the first short steep. And I think it pretty much stayed water-like as far as body goes, in my opinion. Astringency was smooth and low, and this is the lowest astringency category. So that would make this tea good for someone who's new to teas. It makes it very drinkable. I usually like the category right above the bright light category best, but I do love smooth low just as it. My notes for this was that it's earthy, wet wood. It's very similar to the other shoes that I have had, but it is a milder taste. And that's what Roy was saying during the chat. He doesn't like regular shoes, but he likes this one. And the reason for that is because it is a milder taste. It would seem that the type of wood is pine, but I'm not sure I get that. I just get, I just love walking in the woods, and I'm very familiar with bending down and taking pictures of things near wet, decaying logs. And that's kind of what I get out of taste and smell. Now, this has been brought up before, and I put this in my notes, and I kind of love it. Petrichor is a word that means this pleasant smell of earth after the rain. And I look at these pictures, and these pictures just make me feel good because this is something I just love. Nature, and I love earth, and I love trees, and I love rain, and I love all the smells of all those things. And it just, yeah, I think that's a very good word for this, how this smells. I actually love that. Um, and some people during the chat said it was like, tasted like camphor. Now, I need to find me some camphor so I can smell it, because I've heard this during chats before. It's because I only identify it with something like the topical medicinal lotions that you can put on, and that is not something I would want to drink. I don't know why people are saying things taste, because if it tasted like camphor like I know it to smell, it meant when I put it on my skin, no, I wouldn't even want to drink it. I don't get it, but okay, I need to get some camphor so I can put it, I could smell it again and re-identify with it. Abby did not like this tea at all, but I absolutely love it. Here is in the chat. I hope he doesn't mind, but Matthew wrote this in the Facebook group, and other people said, yes, you word things just right, and you managed to say things like, I'm trying to put words to it. So he says, relatively mild and sweet, with a classic, slightly medicinal betel nut note. Oh, really? I didn't get nuts. I didn't get medicinal. And I have no idea what the word betel means. Love you, Matthew. You're great. But I'm trying to analyze your words because I think a lot. As well as an interesting aged aroma reminiscent of jujube. I have no idea what jujube is or what it smells like. Uh, Dulce de leche, that's like a cream, a milk. That's like the cream that I like to put on my scones. That is from French. I didn't get that. Piney spice. Now, this was cool because I had said this during the chat, and we're getting to that in my notes. I had said this about this feel in the finish, and everybody just kind of stared at me like they didn't get it, what I was saying. And then Matthew comes up and he says a fascinating numbing effect on the sides of his tongue and in his cheeks. Well, in the finish, I got mouth watering. I got juicy with short lingering of wooded flavors. And its final say is a bit of highness. I was like, oh, it was like rising in the back of my throat, and I didn't know what else to call it but highness. And is similar to how vinegar feels. And so, which would be a very delicate sourness that I got. Um, and it only happened in the finish, and it only happened when I like focused on the finish to try to describe the finish. So I did get, and I got that over and over. It was some kind of a highness that was kind of a soury, like vinegary feel. Anyway, I love shoe teas, and so I would definitely, it's just like a shoe tea, and I definitely love them, and I definitely would keep it on hand.